Kissing on the Kiwi to my core. That is it, what that. And that la, Manzo Dunga, the Chasan, Karachin Igor Sene, Leda, Numobo, Wangi, Rawan, Kovala, Kiawa, and Dunga Mompusli, I did in the Shugores. Tis not on the Karatargos, Kovala Targores, Leda, Numobo, Wangi, Rawan, by Kiawa, Dile Targores. Jima Momba, Kior, the Kiri Kabla, Leda, Numobo, Wangi, Makiawache, and then Kiawa Bashilet in a Kiawache, or water. Tis leda Numo Wangi Kiawa de la Targores, Dele Tarbeke, Tarsomana, the Tarbatoko, Ejerwada. Tis not done to give Leda Numo Kiawa de la Tarbeke, Tarbasu said Tokudu, and Begida, the Nigga Tarbadoni Uludi, the Yade Yando Chayadi, that Dikongo or what Comezzo or Tirwada. That Di Yawochiala, and I'm to give Koala Targudu, Sembigi. Targos and big Tarba Donir, somebody Abuana, Kori Guinchi, Tongo, the Guinchi Tongana, Guintile, Tongue de la Targos and Samaki to go right in the Tarba Donir, somebody, and the Shukchimbuki Dandala, Manzuki, the Guintima, Motorchik, Dinit in the Yore, such Guinu Motorchik, the Gimsaro Tirua.
Good evening. Last week we continued to look at the suffering nature of cyclic existence. And we looked at the first, so suffering can be divided in different ways, and we have come to the eightfold division. And we looked at the first last week, that suffering of birth. So in brief, all the suffering that ordinary sentient beings experience comes about due to uncontrolled rebirth in samsara, due to contaminated karma accumulated by our afflicted minds. The state of liberation is a state where one is liberated from samsara, where one is liberated from the state of uncontrolled rebirth, but rather takes rebirth, but due to pure karma and prayer. In order to attain liberation, one has to have the strong wish to achieve it. To transform one's way of thinking takes tremendous effort, and to put in the required effort over a sustained period, one has to give rise to a powerful motivation to attain liberation from cyclic existence. So in order to give rise to such a transformative wish, to strive for liberation, so that every single thought and thereby every action and speech, physical action and speech, is geared or geared towards the achievement of liberation from suffering, such a powerful motivation only comes about through deep reflection on the suffering nature of cyclic existence, coming to see how suffering pervades cyclic existence, and that there is nothing worth longing for that remains within samsara, nothing worth striving for that remains bound in cyclic existence. Hence, we are in the part of the presentation where we look at the sufferings of samsara, look at the faults of samsara.
Leda Nyomo Berawame Bachikiwa Lembatella, and the Kova Kiwa Lembasigo, Wada Kova said, Disigore, Chizanda, and Leda Nyomo Wonge Rawame Bada, and the Nyawa Ida, Dundulikina, Tangadin in the Yoris, the Kissing, Kivu Chungu Lamijin Bakshibi, Kaloshe Saravada. Then Leda Nyomo Wonge, and Nasoloma the Milikiwana, and Garioras and Milikiwana, Milia, and Nazon, Nike on the Tabena, and Deneki, Ki on the Gablena, and then Ami. Ngane ni sam jaju ka ne din du su ka nga yore sen ne tha di khisin ta ki yu dung ha di she di le da nyomo onge du ske wa len bai na ki me nga le nin sam cha ma ki de ne ki me nga le ne bi ka bla du su ka nga yore sen khisin di ko shu char wa da.
To give rise to this burning wish to be freed from pain and misery, one has to understand the system by which we suffer, and that, in brief, is this process, this wheel of uncontrolled rebirth in the suffering realms of samsara, that comes about due to the contaminated karma that we ourselves have accumulated due to our own afflicted minds. This is samsara, this uncontrolled rebirth within this realm of suffering. And liberation or nirvana or freedom is the state where one is freed from such uncontrolled rebirth. And as was just mentioned, in order to give rise to the burning desire to attain freedom, one has to look at the faults of cyclic existence. So we started this process last year, or at the beginning of this year rather, in February, when we looked at the faults of the sufferings of the lower realms, and that was in the context of the trainings that are common with a practitioner of initial capacity. Now we have crossed over into the trainings that are common with a practitioner of intermediate capacity. So here we look at the sufferings, not of the lower realms that we've already looked at, but of the upper realms, uncontrolled rebirth in the human or God realms. So when one takes rebirth, there's one of four ways that one takes rebirth. And here in the human context, we look at rebirth from a womb. And this, again, to be clear, is rebirth where one does so in an uncontrolled way, without freedom, without one's own intent, in other words, through the power of pure karma and prayer, but rather in a way that lacks freedom.
Dirima shia to kawi dunga sessia, the later Numo Bongi Mazulia Koa, Milia, Jeva, and Gio, yes, how in it, and ya Mazu kawi dunga sechung, your resident, the kawi dunga motor Denma.
Tonight then we'll continue, still on page 28. When we come now, we'll start to look at the second of the 8 sufferings. After one takes uncontrolled rebirth in cyclic existence is the first, and immediately the process of aging starts. And that is then the second of the 8 sufferings, the suffering of aging.
Anzuke Gawi Dunga Dige, Nanzo Raba Dige, Nambu Anzuke, that Hako Gorba, then Gawi Dulia, Chamoro Jigurua, this is the Chamo de King of Hamoa Chagirua.
When one hears about the sufferings of aging, this immediately we have some understanding of. So we have an understanding of the coarser levels, the rougher levels of the suffering of aging. But the subtler levels, this is what we also need to investigate.
Rimbe Kebane, shooter cooks, and go on, and Traviki, Medota, Carasa, Tawani, and Gender, and near me kept, and I didn't the Malo Shagina, Debete, and Getabachepa Tabus, down with say, and Xing Zawa, Xing Zaso, Namdulamba, Demba Jawa, and then Mana Cheti, drawn a lu. Books make not so and use sour mitong. And the Luke Dang Yambane, and wrote about the Jamban Yambe, Jangeche, and Satung so Ju Gashi, Jitero Dubashino Longe Minusa. And it Sepache Sebe Chiwala New to Chopi Dunga said, that in Azuki, Gayu Dunga the Shiwa Dibato.
Again, I read the whole second paragraph on page 28. The baby gradually grows into a youth, and soon he is old. His back bends like a bow, his hair turns white as a dried flower, and his forehead fills with wrinkles until he looks like a strip of sliced leather. Sitting down is like dropping a heavy load, and standing up is like uprooting a tree. If he tries to speak, his tongue will not obey, and if he tries to walk, he staggers. His sensory powers such as sight and hearing begin to fail him. His body loses its luster and resembles a corpse. His memory degenerates and he can remember nothing. The powers of digestion fail and he can no longer eat properly, no matter how much he craves food. At this point, his life is almost finished and death is rapidly approaching. Such are the sufferings of aging.
림베 개바니 슈터고 시디 나도 충춘이 야 아미 개설이지야 다수 부디 체체체체 루고로 와다 체체로는 유어 루고로 와 체체림바 체는 강고와 차도 아니 마 개바디게 마 구구 차정 강고도 체고르스 네 도스체는 유어 루고로 시히고 와다 다디소 아니 기위게 가서 가위 동아세들이 해서다
Let's look at this passage together. Starting at the top, the baby gradually grows into a youth and soon he is old. So the process of birth comes about really with conception, birth into the womb. And this is later followed by birth from the womb. But birth really is at the point of conception, when one is born into one's mother's body. In aging, the process of aging happens immediately, from the very next moment. So aging, in our context here, isn't just how we usually use the term, but it refers to from the moment of conception or from birth in a womb, one starts to age. And that happens, of course, as it says here, in its Tibetan anyway, it says it happens immediately and continues from birth from the womb, and then aging continues from then.
다디 단에 가위 둥아 가는 책이래. 디 둥아 있는 데는 안쪽에 신디게네 이 당번의 충충 야야 체체야 첨보차 아니 신구차네 아니 감제 차려 용거로 와서 용거로 신라 지신 차산되네 안저고 신레 둥아 여르베스 세아데 안쪽에 삼나 되네 코르시기로 와지자 밀리아 되네가 아메기에서는 야 체체체 갱과차도 구 차로베네 디 둥아를 레비나 아니 신디게 야 충충네 야 체체체 차네 야 첨보차된 로마디게 마구구차되네 감보차 그것이 리드야 되는 용도 와서 아니 신뢰 동아 여르베스 세네 안 미다 지과 자기도 와서 직티와르시 삼나가서 남도를 도바 용식이로 와
Some may hear, but this just sounds like a description of the natural process. And it happens throughout nature. So, for example, a seed will sprout and grow into a plant, and that plant will grow, and then it will wither and eventually die. So if the natural world, or the natural world rather, if the botanical world goes through such a process, as does that of sentient beings, then couldn't it be said then that plants must also suffer as well?
Yeah. Dengi yuozo ngazo mida sing zixing chasan dengi yuozo ba jigwa wada ma chunju ya che zane ko ganzam ji le gyuru ji me ba cha ro de jigwa cha go de ne da zixing le dunga yo le sa ji xi go ma da ngazo milia ane dunga sa xi yo ba de ga ro yo sene jidang ngazo le 가령 거서 안주 수부 추지 야 체체체 차량도 안주리야 강아를 용고로 봐 안내나지 나마 용고로 되는 셈마기와 내나지 망고 차도 셈마기와 차야다 아니 지금 안지 강고 야 차단 루고고 쳐 파드로마도 봐 야야이 드로마도 봐는 야 지금 강아를 내가로 레마도 봐다 되네 강아 용고로 봐 디자이닝 안주리 류디 교화저디 안주리야 셈처리에 유어주고 봐. 지난 되니게 초위 동아 망고시 리고로 봐. 디 전에 내가 저기 동아세 동아세 시고로 봐. 나 지난에 되디 규의 동아세들이 가서 걸 되니게 규어줘디 지단 기지기지 집에 미다바래 기지기지 규어주고 되는 디다뇽도 라와메 발레다 뇽모 온기 야 둘둘둘 줘야돼 둘 줘야네 규어주고 봐. 디네 인자 라와메 발레다 뇽모 온기 녀마기 디기 펜번 뉴바 간지여바 디zam기 마도 뒤두고 매바래 디네 규어주고 봐서 아니 규의 동아세지 직식으로 둥아식으로 수 저와 둥아 류유어줘야 저와 류유 둥아래 류유어줘야지 류변에 아미 충진기리야 체체체 류체체체 직차 저와 류유어줘로 류유 둥아식으로 나 디념도 소와 셈내야 강하다 지 강하 뭐 둥아 뭐 게 소와 둥아 게줘야 돼 둥아 수책으로 와
Certainly, there is great similarity in the process between plants and sentient beings, in that there is this process of that we can call birth and growth, and then aging and death. So there is that similarity, but of course, plants do not suffer; they don't have consciousness. But humans or sentient beings, so in this case, in this context, we're looking at humans. From the process of birth, then due to a momentary change, there is the process of growth and decline. So this happens naturally, it happens involuntarily. It's not something that is willed or needs to be willed, it's something that happens naturally. Moreover, as one grows and ages, then one starts quite quickly to experience more and more physical illnesses. And linking to physical illnesses, one also experiences mental suffering. So in dependence on the physical suffering coming from illness through this process of aging, then one also suffers mentally. So there's this process of bodily change which impacts on our mental state as well. So this is something that happens involuntarily. So the process of bodily change, if we now think back to a couple of weeks ago, or 3 weeks ago, when we looked at the threefold division of suffering. Now we're in the eightfold division. When suffering in its entirety was divided into three, we had the suffering of physical and mental pain, the suffering of transient happiness, and all-pervasive suffering. So how does this process of growth and aging, how does that then fit into the threefold division? Well, the process of momentary change, which is this process of aging, this would actually fall into the suffering of transient happiness. But when one experiences a cause suffering, therefore feelings of suffering, when one experiences this cause suffering and feelings of suffering due to the momentary change, which is of the body, which is the process of aging, the suffering of aging, then that is the first of that threefold division, the suffering of physical and mental pain. So when we are experiencing the feeling of suffering due to the aging process, that is the first of the threefold division, the suffering of physical and mental pain. But the mere aging process, so there one isn't experiencing the feeling or the sensation of suffering, then that would fall under the category of the suffering of transient happiness.
아주 가르쳐 버렸어요. 지당 아주 지딘비기 용다 시에도 동아다기 시교 말와 이내 아주기 지신디기 주에디기 레라 되는 게 와래서 아주 낭배 슝내 시에도 다 레라 되는 기기로서 세상 아주기 레 소수기 아주 지신디기 차상 하는 아주 디나데 미다 셈제나 차상기 투모에 레라 되는 기고래서 세상 투모에 레라 되는 게 와래 세상 투모에 레라 되는 게 와도 레기 되버려요. 진짜 레기 되면서 근데 아주 가르쳐고 왔는데 레다 녀모부 온기 깨와지 깨위 두시기 차러와 되네 인자 그 유어로데 레다 녀모 온기 그 두고로와 되네 인자 안디 아주 유 동아로 차고 땅 아주 지디 영라라 동아스 싱마로와 이네 땅 아주 다 동아나 숨진데 동아 유에 동아 차바두지 동아스 셔야도 다 가서 유에 동아서 맞아 차바두지 동아서 올다 대징이 세대 잡아두지 동안하고 유에 동안 세대 대화 초와 대화들과 대지 투명하다 게 투명 인사다 대징아도 류주와도 스켜야 잡아두지 동안 책으로와 아 유에 동안 말 잡아두지 동안 그래 안디나징아 저기 지신디게 주디게랑 저기 레 투모에 레라 된도 주디 지신디게 다 잡아두지 동안으로 책거래.
Actually, I need to correct what I've just said here. So the process, so when we divide the suffering of aging, which can be understood on the subtler level as the momentary changing of the body that one is born into, that when we divide it into the threefold division of suffering, is not the suffering of transient pleasure, because the suffering of transient pleasure is the experience of pleasant sensations or the feeling of happiness, of worldly happiness. Rather, this is the third type of suffering, all-pervasive suffering, because this is the basis upon which the other two sufferings are experienced. So the suffering of aging, it comes about due to our karma, and therefore we momentarily change in a way without freedom, and this then is the basis of suffering, all-pervasive suffering. Then, so that's to correct what I just said, and now to link it to a previous segment. This all-pervasive, this karma that leads to the momentary change that we experience with our body, this is something we actually share with the natural kingdom, with the flora, because plants grow and eventually wither and die due to karma. And that karma isn't something that the plants themselves created. Rather, it's a common karma. It's karma that the beings in that world have created themselves, and that is manifests in the or leads to that leads to their being flora, leads to this physical world existing. So that this physical world, such as the flora, exists is due to the karma created by beings in the world, and that is karma that those beings have created in common. So there is that relationship between the flora in the world and the beings in the world. But flora doesn't experience suffering. Rather, it does come about, though, due to the common karma created by sentient beings. And then just to repeat again, that this process of aging, the suffering of aging, when it's placed within the one of the threefold division of suffering, it's in the third one, that of all-pervasive suffering.
All right. 아디네 난조 경고 차 되니 깨봐 바 구구 차 직강아 책이래 세야디 나디서 야 지기 저기 류 저거 저거야 되니게 지게 람사 깨부 구구 차다 그 최대한 제당 돈에 가시를 교불이로 가시 길게 맞아 용 말와 가신데 경고에 나 구구 맞아버려 지당다수부 당하는 거라 그럼 디안디서 야 소수기 마주 레기 왕기디 주고 이네 소수기 될야 최대한다 그렇지 송송급 제비 돈에 아직 교보용하다 길리길로 용하다 되게 잡아용 걸 가진 구구 맞아봐요 시기로 와다 되는 용으로 와
Whilst this process of aging then begins immediately after birth, when the degree to which the decline in one's health comes, here there's tremendous variety, of course, amongst beings. Whether the decline in one's health comes about quickly or only much later in life is dependent on one's own individual karma. But nevertheless, this decline in health, whenever it comes, is due to one's karma. But why there is such variety that some may be healthy throughout their lives, or healthy for long periods before ill health strikes, others very young experience untold suffering due to ill health. The reason for that variety is due to one's own individual karma.
다 고니 산 제외 메토드 가선 자디게 가고 차르고 해서 그 자가 가고 차 되니기 안에 지게 디스타 가고 차 교어줘야지 그런 디제 안 디스 둥하지 안 델레야 미카실라 되니기 가고 차요도 안 셈다 셈중에 자 가고 차 셈마기와 다 되니 아직 지도메 바로 가셈 셈철이야 미디어 연구로 와디죠 난 디시에 되게 최소한 되게 또 뭘 송해서 배가 메디케이션을 고 나고 자야로와 나고 되는 자가고라 차도 경고 자가고 차도 오다데 다 경고 차상아 자가고 차도 경고 차샤사 언두신 셈 딜레야 초와로 셈 마기로 초와 리고로와 세상 건 이네 고 자가고 있는 인지미지다 둥아 인구 그룹에서는 되고야죠 말아 이네당 아주기 레다 뉴모 뛰어 넘기다 자 나고 예딩에 좀 지원이 뒤에도 나가고 차에도 다 간고 차샤다 가고 차 자가고 차도 간고 차샤서야 된 셈 손남 미디어 연구를 어찌 둥아디 연구를 해야 돼 지식으로
Looking at the text here, his back bends like a bow, his hair turns white as a dried flower. So these results that follow from aging, as was just said, this will, when it comes about, will vary between people. And also, with some of the sufferings mentioned here, whether they are experienced as sufferings or not is certainly not fixed, it's not definite. It depends on a number of causes whether some of these are experienced as suffering or not. So the text, of course, it was written centuries ago in Tibet for a Tibetan audience at that time. So there'll be cultures in the world today, for sure, that where grey hair does lead to suffering within people. And there'll be other cultures where grey hair is seen in a very different way, and therefore is experienced very differently. So when we see illustrations like this, we need to understand that it was composed in a particular context, and whether something is experienced as a suffering or not depends on a variety of causes, such as a variety of factors rather than causes, a variety of factors, such as the cultural context.
다 가지고 자와서 디시그로와 대배화들이야 아니 가지고 대대지 신마 조 제제도수 마 신샤샤 춘춘춘춘 자시 된 지샤변에 녀마 먹고요 안디나시 될이야 아니 녀마 먹고 된 거래서 제가 배워 차산디 자와들 녀미게도 경고서 녀마 먹고 된지 개분 거래서 제가 녀마 먹고 된데 양지 셈이야 초와 마대와서도 수마기와 용구로와 지나다 경고 수부티게 미 통다이네 닝조 당보다 닝조 여외는 녀마 먹고 닝조 뭐 차고고 제 되네 자데 동아이라시 교화도와디 아니 고레이 원고도 교화도 되네 자데 근데 교육이 동아체 아까 캬바두시 동아체 안델야 안직 셈솔야 안 셈마기와다야 지 냐마도 마기오요도 아니데 지 동아리고로와
And the sentence continues, and his forehead fills with wrinkles until he looks like a strip of sliced leather. So the end of this sentence should be translated slightly differently. And rather compared to where the forehead looks like the bark of a tree. So that's to keep with the composer's idea of the analogy with the natural world, with the world of fauna. So here, what we see is that this natural process of aging, which is, from the context of the types of suffering, is part of all-pervasive suffering, or falls under all-pervasive suffering. It's what happens when one has these contaminated aggregates that have come about in an uncontrolled manner. They naturally decline moment by moment, and therefore this is a natural process. But whether one experiences the feeling of suffering, or an unpleasant sensation due to having wrinkles, is, again, it's not certain. It depends on a number of factors such as the individual or the culture and so forth. So some certainly will experience tremendous anguish as they age and seeing their face in the mirror with ever more wrinkles. And they will then experience unpleasant sensations or the suffering feelings. And that's then in the threefold division of suffering. is the suffering of physical and mental pain, the first division. Whereas having this body, and thereby it goes through this natural aging process, is the third type of suffering, that of all-pervasive conditioning, because this is the basis upon which the first two types of suffering arise. Another way we can understand the end of the sentence, or another analogy that can be used, so we have it as becomes wrinkled like strips of sliced leather. So another way we can think of it is if something's created with is woodwork that's created with traditional machinery. The woodwork is quite a lot rougher than what we see in our modern world with the modern tools. Traditionally made furniture, often the woodwork is much coarser, and you don't have the planks or the parts of the object sitting together so well, but there are gaps and there's some knolls and the like. So the finished product is quite rough, quite coarse. And that is how we end up, how our faces end up, our bodies end up as we age. So perhaps when we're younger, we much more like the floor we have in our modern world, this gompa here with the planks of wood fit together seamlessly. But then when we age, we end up more like traditional carpentry, where there's far more gaps between the wood, and there's splinters, and it's not nearly as smooth, but now much rougher to feel. We know from our own experiences that for many people, when they see this process of change, it causes unhappiness within them. Hence, hair may be dyed, and woodwork that looks old may be repaired. And that is because of the unhappiness that comes about and the desire for happiness.
다 뒤에서 이제 타고 쳐봤다 보세요. 나 뒤뒤급라 변해네 저기 잘라로서 무슨 타봐야 다시 야 다시하면 타고 마 쳐면 마 상황에서 독신 마사용으로 독스 마사용으로 어디나시 강고쳐데 마 뒤뒤급라 당가서 현현이니까 마 뒤뒤급 흘려지 돼야다 야랑도 그 그두고 남상랑 투여 연구로 와. 나 강고쳐도 안 마 뒤뒤급라 din 마주도 남상 독스지마 되어시길 흘려지 되고 말마디니 독스 되어봐데 안디지 이니 잘라 다샤반 타바차도 마 독스 살도 디나신진 마 되게급레 독스 되고 차딘 차고 그래지래.
The third sentence is something that those of us who are older will know very well as well. Those who are young, well, that still awaits you. Sitting down is like dropping a heavy load. And this, as one ages, one really sees that this is the case.
당위에 아니 싱 자와서 싱자 남도기 된바 자와스데 지당 아주 싱게 자와디 마사나를 마기거로 봐. 다 싱자와 같이 야 된두가래 빼갈래라시 야 남네 된두도 스칼레로 와딘데 된 갖고라 쉬우셔로 봐다. 안디나 신진네 아니 그래서 야 된바나 자마 구주로 안디나시 먼저 야 란두 갑라 빼 지한 현주이나 남산라 투고와 지상가서 경고에도 지라 야 란두 그다 라바 파티 직대인지네 아니 제 랑과 차고 디나신 야랑야 kudu 랑마도 강아 차고 레시 버드나.
Likewise with the rest of the sentence. Standing up is like uprooting a tree. And if you think of a tree with an elaborate system of roots, it takes a lot of effort to pull it out of the ground. And when one ages, standing up also requires such effort.
만에 제딥스데 당어주기 기시도 갑라 아니 기시 바 세부 시마도 같이 지게 하고 비슷하마도도 아니 기시 세부 마용하다 아니 조고 시마도 하다 되는게 아니 강아 티고레서 치도아.
If he tries to speak, his tongue will not obey. And this then refers to the decline further in the body, where when one tries to speak, then one ends up stuttering, struggling to get the words out of oneself because of one's decline.
len drona lubu pside da nganzu gengora chadu drodu ga de sabza je gyobara zu yang ji robara ten ma do baina ma je namsa ma ri ji kabu ji ma riye denege nyanga chimungol wa denege sigor da drona lubu pside denege tung.
And moreover, as we see here, if he tries to walk, he staggers. And this too, when one has aged, one knows that one has to be very careful when one walks, because one is not steady like one was before. When one was younger, one could bound around. But these days, even just watching that is tiring. And so one has to move with great care. Getting up is difficult, sitting down is difficult, moving is also difficult.
다 민나서 유사와 미통어 세례다 변행하자 지금 암초에 하는 기시도 미자디게 세부마고 하다 아니 미나 유디게 사와 마통와 아니 미투스 진행한 쪽에 다 두스 주고래지래.
And the fifth sentence then is about the decline in one's sense powers. His sense powers such as sight and hearing begin to fail him.
다 루게 다냠바 러다 오시다 나주게다 류 다 지게 로 총아가라 수부게 당다 인주요 나 간고 차도 바지 당디에 마 냠냠 가점 질레베 간고 교교체 수부디게 교보 차는데 당디에 마 아니 가지 냠두고 레지레.
And furthermore, his body loses its luster. This then refers to that one's complexion. Again, is that now of an aged person, not of a youth anymore.
다 전바 냠베 쟁이체 다 간고차도 전바 되게 파 냠제 아니 기시기시 남상 제주겐 제초초로 중국에서.
His memory degenerates and he can remember nothing. So this then refers to the cognitive decline as one ages.
다 사동소 주가신사 아니 지들 되바신 원체 미니스 지상 사야동야 되게 아니 지금 아주 사연도 수불이야 주가와 수불 맞춰봐 먹고 아니 소속이 되바나신 아니 사투고 사야게 고브라기 말해지래.
The powers of digestion fail, and he can no longer eat properly, no matter how much he craves food. This then refers to another example of the great change that one experiences when one ages. Before, one could eat what one wanted and as much as one wanted, and the difficulty that may or may not follow could easily be overcome. But as one ages, one has to be so much more careful. One can no longer eat whatever one wants or as much as one wants.
파셰 세세베 치와라 뉴도 주베 동아세 데네 제네도 스kengo 전데는 안 파셰 아니 시야기 괜찮래 알레지네 안 제 동아데 주와주고 레지래.
At this point, his life is almost finished and death is rapidly approaching. So this point then, this too then compounds the suffering that one experiences.
denigi ngang zu ge ame ji ne du chen lu yu zhuo ta de ji ge dang bo de ya bu yue bi jin ne ane ji du go ro wa di le da nyom mo ong ge jie wa len ba yin zang di zhe che du zhuo de dan le da nyom mo jie wa men ba che mo lam dang ge wa ba shi le jie de ba che ba na denigi yu zhuo ma yu de ge ji yu zhuo mi da ba yu zhuo de ya bu de du zhuo de yong go ma de ya dang bo kan xin ne denigi 야구的인지 뭐 임바라 거 유어 계지 유어 두고 되네 계지 당보 니베 가서做了 니베 순베 가서 요 말에 계지 유어 두고 되네 지 당보 야구 요 바제 되네 제일 둘 좀 줘야 지어로 받아 되네 언디 요 말에 세상 몰람다 기베 사위 또 블레 깨와 있나 되네 요 말 세상 간서 밀 깨와 있나 양 그냥 저기 몰람다 개와 짱짱레 끼도 밀 깨와 있나 밀리디 아니 되네 용 말에 세제 당아서但俺就地个是当波也不有吧，这里俺那这穷穷也吃嘟别那在忙用的看，俺卡拉山那马车吧吃的看，俺那呀狼呀啦大节嘛对不对？你那个把叫加了嘛，叫嘟过了吧？地主要的个是，可有的也不买吧，人家的嘟过了，有个女的个这有吧？女的个。变得有点连当了是绿当的那些女把路卡这原来的女把把这的女把做的，有点了女把下面呢，这不的叫出来如果那些，现在的那啥的，俺就叫出来的那个，当我也个真的嘟出来的，来到牛毛我们有个，有点了来到牛毛我们中华人家，有也不没办法，俺就这不的那个东海叫出来的，的那些，现在俺就。다 되네기 멤버 주어 말 아니 주어 되네기 야보디네 아니 둘 마저와 되지 여러베스 루지 여러베스 여레스 게디 용구레스 나도 타르바세 토바이나 타르바 톱찬에 야게 깨월렘바네 밀케와이 마나 탈레 깨월렘바나 가와 깨월렘베네 되네기 루디 마저 나신지 주어줘야 말레스 베네 야가디 둘 마체네 네나서 망아요야 지 마쳐봐 강한 체기 안두스네 루디 주어줘야 돼 용 말레스
The validity, the truth of this presentation is something that, whether one has personally experienced it or not in this life, one certainly has seen it. So we know there is truth in this. And this is the situation for us ordinary beings who have taken birth without any control, birth that was propelled due to the contaminated karma that we ourselves accumulated due to our afflicted minds, as uncontrolled rebirth, which is the process of cyclic existence. But those who've attained liberation from the system of cyclic existence, who have attained freedom from it, they will never take rebirth in such a way again. They may well be born amongst humans or amongst gods, but that will not be uncontrolled. It will not be due to contaminated karma and afflictions. Rather, it will be due to their pure karma that they've accumulated together with their prayers. So such a being then, whether born amongst humans or in a god realm, what they will have in common with the body of the ordinary samsaric beings around them is that their body will change momentarily too. It's impermanent, and it will also change momentarily. But that's what they have in common. What is different is vast. Their body won't decline. It won't degenerate. It will change momentarily, but it will not degenerate and decline like that of ordinary beings. So therefore, they will not go through any suffering. They have attained liberation from suffering. So they will not experience suffering such as we've seen here, previously of birth and now of aging. So these problems that we have as humans, where we suffer due to aging, and all the ways as it presented here, we lose our energy, which is meant here by this term luster. We not just our complexion, but we lose energy as we age. We no longer have the vitality that we had when we were younger. We struggle to get up, we sit down, and we then struggle to get up. We have to move with care. We have to pay great attention to our diet because we are vulnerable in a way that we weren't before. But this current state that we are in is the state of sentient beings. It's not the state of those who have attained liberation from samsara. It's not the state for those who take rebirth due to pure karma and prayer.
Subudi pe chik tangbo ami ngan ma ki du kabla kanga yedu ki chane pa yaga chi dur ma ro an juwa ro ne kyor duwa troya na an chik lega le na nuba meeting trona nuba meeting ya dunga mangbo chik yon de kewale ya chik chi yo ba che da de di membe ge da ki yon de kabla ya kanga ki ne me khe an chik tangbo ne ki yo de ne da pe lo ge da churu de ne ge che ro chi di na chin chik dang subuge che dang yuwa yune je yaga jine dur joya yune me de ken je ki ji yuwa de ro de ine yaga jine dur joya me de ken ke di ine da ji ya bo jang yin ba ane ji ge ne ga me na ne da ji ga me de ken je wa le ji ge mo le che le je sa di ge wa ni de gar gu gu le sing a zo dam gu le si or da dang a zo dam me ne gar dam gu le sin o da 개월에 당번에 끼어는데 강아 규대 매되게 아니 야가진의 두어 균에 줘야 유어 균에 줘야 매되게 야고장에 제대로 고인성아 네 고고를 받아 다시 네 고고 있나 다등 안 좋게 뒤에 지키었는데 강아 안직네 나서 막볼에 또 야가진의 둘 마든 가슴 찔려 고겨 담아도 둘 차에 주부디 제가 네 개월이 먹었어요 다디 먹었나 내가 좀 가르쳐 그래야지네 제가 뇨모 봐서 빵고 그래서 뇨모바 de pang ba ina cheza 뇨모바 pang de 뇨모바 de di jewa len ba de la ta ru ko res cheza da di pang so ba ne jewa ne ta yo de ne jewa len de ga wa li gi res ne ani de xin a zo ya ho de le ji yo de ne ya ho gang a ju ne me de ken an tun je da sa xia da be ning ju gang a ju ne me de ni ani ya ho de ne dur ju wa ju ya me de ken di jewa len ba de di res je de di jewa len ko ina a ju ge 다디께 와딜에 탈고 그래서 다디께 와딜에 탈바 있나 안 타야라 가르쳐서는 뇽모 빵 그래서 제가 뇽모 빵배 빵바 세대 탈바세 디토고 그래 디톱네 안 다야게 깨월랜도 아니 약보디 잖아 깨월랜 그래지래 예와기 true 아든지 매. 네 true 아마래 주기래 거 주기. 주기 랍들 매켜나 랍나 되기래.
The situation then for us as humans, but it's really for it will also be a similar, but not quite the same, but a similar situation for those born as gods, is that as long as one is a being bound within samsara, in other words, a being who continues to take uncontrolled rebirth, one will continue to have this basis of suffering, that third type of suffering, all-pervasive suffering, which is these contaminated aggregates. And therefore, we experience at the moment of birth, that's the suffering of birth. And of course, it's not only us that suffer, but it's parts of the pregnancy and at birth as well. Our mother suffers gravely too. And then then we also not only go through the various sufferings that we looked at last time of birth, but now also what we're seeing here in terms of aging, the wide variety of sufferings of aging. And this I'll relate to both the physical as is described here in the text, but also the other sufferings that we experience as we go through our education and we go through our work. We experience all kinds of problems throughout our life. This is the situation for samsaric beings who are trapped in the realms of cyclic existence, trapped in this prison of samsara. For those, though, who are liberated from this prison, who have attained a state of lasting, stable happiness, who no longer take uncontrolled rebirth, but only take rebirth due to pure karma and their prayers, their situation is completely different. they aren't born from, in our case, from a womb, but they take spontaneous rebirth, and they are born not as an infants like we are, but as a youth, as a body of a young, how we would relate to as a body of a young person. Their body is in the prime of youth. So they have a body like that, and whilst it is impermanent and momentarily changes, it doesn't decline, it doesn't degenerate. And being liberated, they experience no suffering. There is no suffering of aging. There is no illness to be experienced. So when we know the situation we have, at least on a course level, and we hear about another possibility, it's very clear which is desirable. We all desire a state freed of pain, a state of lasting, stable happiness. So what is the cause of the one, and what is the cause that has been eliminated that leads thereby to the other type of rebirth? It's these afflicted minds, these destructive emotions that lead to us accumulating contaminated karma and lead us to take uncontrolled rebirth in samsara, whether our rebirth is propelled by a negative karma and we fall into the suffering lower realms, or our rebirth is propelled by virtuous karma and we take rebirth in the upper realms. We remain trapped in cyclic existence because that propelling karma was accumulated together with afflictions, and therefore it is contaminated, and we continue to have these contaminated aggregates, the basis of suffering. But when we manage to completely eradicate the afflictions, completely eradicate them, we then accumulate pure karma, karma that is not, karma or action that is not infused with afflictions, but is freed of the presence of afflictions and is thereby pure. Then rebirth is no longer uncontrolled, but comes about due to the power of prayer and pure karma. That is how one achieves rebirth free of suffering.
Dine da nga zogi le da nyomo onge kewa len yon du nga zogi lu di pa yaga jin dur pa du yuwa ro dine yuwa ro yo ba chikche. An di ma se nga zogi khor yu ge sa je da xin da zi xin da de sui na ya che nga zogi gen go cha na ne khon zui na gen go che pa yin ba ma dip ne chola ro me ba cha. An de ji sa je bar bur da dine ge so su ge Sonam ge le da de we to ne so ne sa je di khor yu di de yung go re. Je san ka she Dösa pe chik saje khoryu tsangma yabu chik yuhada ane diwa bu nöse chiyagi semchen dubo chana bu dubo dine ki medo dukshin da dine medo ge rik mangu yuwa kashi yami kashi dösa liya saje bargo ane chik tsarma mangu yu digen ane chik semchen nöse chiyaga mangu yu digen dine ki yuwa sosu ki le dan dewa yu digen nyaya chagore jisa dine ki yungore jisa da molam nga zuki deshi nyomo bangche tarba topje yange gewa lendu gewa lengen dela dis saji khor yu dige zangma zangja kaya neba meba ningchibu be jike medo da denigi disue da ya geje ningbo cha de ma sam ma kambo chi ri jue de ne yo me dige mili ha yuo jue jike ya hojine dur jue meba na xin zixin da medo da kare ne disue ne ya hoja ya de ma do ya hode ne ya dur jue mere 먼저 이제 지신의 매도에는 당보계도 중주계도 인지고 샤도 니 가sam지리 니 뭐하지 니 뭐잘 차기도와 지신 어디 나신 고려 되게 개발되는 용어로
Those beings like ourselves, we suffer in this way, born due to our contaminated karma. And it's a completely different situation for those who take rebirth due to pure karma. And as we heard earlier, our environment and also the way we experience our environment. Well, our environment is due to our common karma that's common, that's shared between ourselves and others, common karma. And this leads to the environment that we live in, that we have lived in throughout our lives. This is what's led to the creation of our world, and this world that we experience, and the in particular environments that we have dwelled throughout our life. And it's due to the karma of beings in a place that they experience that they have such a place. So some people live somewhere of great beauty. Others live somewhere that really, the environment is truly harsh. It's difficult to eke an existence there. And also they are in the environment, there can be either a lot or very few obstacles. So some places there are a lot of, for example, mosquito-borne diseases, and other places there are none. Other places have a lot of annoying insects, others have none. Some places have there is grave danger from other people. In others there are none. People largely live in harmony together. So this variation within cyclic existence also comes about due to karma that beings have created. Those who've achieved liberation, not only do they have a body that doesn't suffer, but the environment that they live in is also completely different. It's because the karma there that has led to the creation of the environment is pure. So everything that surrounds these beings is pleasing. They're flowers, they're beautiful natural environments, but these don't wither and die. They don't degenerate like our environment does. Everything that surrounds them, this too is beautiful and doesn't fade away, but is also lasting in terms of it doesn't wither and die.
다 오스트레일리아기 되게 미디기 나는 지금 룸바코나 지시대에 안에 지금 튕겨하고 들려 지금 여러 안에 룸바카시에다 베네 룸바카시에 나라다 지금 막초 자기들이 나 마자자 미스리 다야다 안에 가시는 룸바디나를 추고 뭐 추마라 안에 돈도 계세마 지금 차와 맞아 강아들이 지니 되게 다 룸바 망보 여러 계속 미임바 단다리데 가실은 지게 사제도 코요데 야고제 델리아 안 중게 다도 야고여 봐제 안 지게 지 야고여 되겠지 가실이야 집에 지 사제 교보 안 추메베 강아 돈도 마지베 강아 안 디가래 내만 안 그래서 추보제 마투 망보지 파수 쇠레다 낭직 마건 요라 망보 안 델리아 bom보되게 야고 마제 고소리서 지 강아 망보 예디 미된데 직바레디 이디나 데니고 소화기상에 내상날이야 캐버시고 여바디가도 데니게 때는 좀리 나한테는 세고하고 투에로와 디나싱아 저기 디제바나 저기 데니게 난 레다 녀몽바다 당 디가리 캐버쇼레 랍나 데니 강아 체세 미디게 미겨와레데 녀마 코노 저기 랭아바 망와사요로와 다디 nga 저기 내상 약고 요근 되게 미디게 냐마 안에 미르게와 레다 녀모 깨와 렘바레데 이네 개와디게 슈체 여비 인자 야용고로 제가 개와 슈체 가지 슈체에 여베네 안에 밀게베네 강아 여베네 디나레 야갈리고로 어디 나신 당아서 개위 자와 가지 슈체에 온게 개와네 개와디 야갈리고로 봐
To further emphasize the importance to tame our minds, to transform our minds, and thereby transform the karma that we create, just take a moment to recall the great disparity that exists in our world. Our world is, of course, populated by many humans. So that these humans who are ordinary samsaric beings, in a sense, in some senses, you could say our situation is identical in that we have all taken uncontrolled rebirth. So all ordinary human beings here have taken uncontrolled rebirth in samsara and suffer in these ways that have been presented here. And all have taken rebirth due to, as a human, due to a virtuous karma that is nevertheless contaminated and thereby led to rebirth as a human. But what is the environment that beings are born into, here we can see what great variety there is. Australia, when compared to other countries, is vastly different. People who live here have vastly different experiences, or the potential for vastly different experiences from what others have to endure in this world. And we know this from what we observe, whether on the news or if we've traveled. When we see how others live and what they must endure, We don't want to swap with many people who are in these situations. And moreover, when we think not just of the natural environment, but the other influences on them, such as their governmental system. So here we live in a country where our government takes responsibility for the welfare of their population, cares for their population. Our government ensures that our environment is clean and it's safe, but this isn't the case in many places in this world. In many places, those in authority exploit those beneath them. They take advantage, they abuse people. So this tremendous variety in the world comes about due to karma. And beings are born in the place that is in accordance with their karma that is ripening. So people who are born and living in these harsh environments, in these environments where the suffering is really manifest, or where the suffering is quite extreme, we could say, this is due to their experiencing far greater levels of negative karma, non-virtuous karma ripening. And thereby they are in such a difficult situation, especially when compared to those who are born in or who now live in a country such as ours. So this point needs to be reflected on, because we and others find ourselves in the situation that we are in due to the karma that we have accumulated, which comes about in dependence on the motivating minds, how afflicted they are or not.
다 되는 나위 동아 요래시래. 다 나위 동아 가리고 쓰는 거는 소리야. 나디 저기 나위 동아 때가 저기 직 소수게 냠녀랑 좀 비망 못 통해야 돼. 대체 니수 하고 그러와. 대체 나위 동아 가리고 류규 중화 참만년 뭐 추대 나위체 치 바바감 난게 샤슈 사동 이동와 남 내래 포도 안에 포도 빵괴 이디 몽와 사동 남면 자동만 소바 미디신도 땡괴 세다. 근데 달세 소게 맨지 주보나 땡괴 네미 소와 도네 동아报도면 봐 용거 봐 내외 동아 인시래. 나도 찾아.
We come then to the third of the eightfold presentation of suffering, that of illness. So reading the last two paragraphs on page 28, which really should be edited to being one. As well as the sufferings of birth and age, throughout life he must continually confront the sufferings of illness. When the elements of his body fall out of harmony, his skin dries and his flesh sags. Food and drink, usually so appealing, seem repulsive, and instead he must ingest bitter medicines and undergo unpleasant treatments like operation, moxibustion, acupuncture, and so forth. Should the disease be incurable, he experiences immeasurable suffering from fear, worry, and apprehension. And if the disease is fatal, he lives with death in front of his eyes.
중앙시기 때는 죽다 사주 면허시래 때는 죽되어래. 그래서 중앙대 참만요 바차도 중앙직 천년부 중앙대 배 천년부 되니까는 아주 부디고 용고 있어라. 그래서 중앙대 참만요 바차도 나로 추지는 아주 나야세야 되는 거랬어. 그래서 되게 추대 나요도 가르치고 왔으네. 아는 아주 나와서 주부교고 차야도 네 지게 치 빠빠디게 바 감지 까보라 차로 감지. 난게 샤슈 난게 샤디기 마 슈르든 근데 지금 캄보차로 그러와.
When the elements of his body fall out of harmony, the body matters comprised of various elements, and when they're not in harmony, then illness follows. So perhaps in a modern medical sense, we talk about perhaps the cells not being in harmony, and then illness follows. So the presentation here is similar. And then also as part of of this process, illness comes. One's skin dries, flesh sags.
얘네 자동 이동와는 내라 포도 빵고에서 대장아서 사야동에 신부를 지내 누구에 어디디 난 누구에다 자기면서 파 사야기 되어야 파 지금 마사지 빵고도와 제가 자동 이동와 지 신부를 지내 얘네 배네 데니기 신부여 배네 나절 포고여 배네 배네 지는 나절다 장아모티 신부에나 지 장아모 마동세하다 어둥데 누구에서하다 야 지금 지오마 샤스예나 아니가서레 데니게 사야디게 신부디게 사야나 어데 계약다 데네 신부디게네 사야도엔 아등아 나절 뉴기도선 파방과 데네게 제사 사야도에 신부가 제나 수불이야 뉴기도선 고제 되어야나 제 마사지 데네 차고도 데네 제사 데네게 나외 동아디 나외 긴기 사야 신부디게 사야라고 말해 싫고 하라고 말와지
With the next sentence, I'm just going to change the translation of the first half of the sentence. So what we have in our books as food and drink, I'll just change that a little. Particular appealing food and drink needs to be abandoned as they now lead to illness. Instead, he must ingest bitter medicines and undergo unpleasant treatments like operations, moxibustion, acupuncture, and so forth. So this first part, certainly those of us who are diabetics, we know very well. Particular appealing food and drink needs to be abandoned as they now lead to illness. So as a diabetic, I can no longer drink sweet tea like I have my whole life, because for me, the sugar poses a great danger. And this, anyone who has the illness of diabetes knows this. One has to be very careful about what one eats. One cannot eat white rice or potatoes, all foods that perhaps one liked before. And certainly if one had a sweet tooth and enjoyed chocolate and cake, no longer. And this can have quite an impact on one's happiness. And this all comes about due to illnesses that one encounters. One no longer can enjoy and take pleasure in things that before were so desirable.
다 이름은 사동 매라 소바 미디신의 땡구구리 세대 내바 지바이나 다 사야게 되버면나야 나자들이 판야게 된다라 근데 사고고로 제가 데니기 안지기 되버 메신도 사고야 차고로 제가 데니 인자디서 안에 나위 긴지네 안 되버면나야 사고야 차데 나위기 동아 차고로 나위 동아에서 나위 긴지네 디차고래서
And the sentence continues, instead he must ingest bitter medicines. And this then, not only due to illness, are there certain food types that we enjoy that we have to avoid, but then there are other medicines that don't taste so pleasant, that are all food types that we don't like, but now we need to eat for our health. We have to do this. So we abandon what we previously enjoyed and now have to engage in things that we'd really rather not. So this all comes about from the suffering of illness.
다르세 소기 지 주원남 땡고 시레 다르세르 마주 수분 나저여나 지스 나제데 다이 돈다 메주치에도 데니야 뚜브제디와바 차 된거야다 데니게 다르서마 차 된당 안델리아지 메자다 데니게 로당거야다 차고라 세와세 데니게 차고야다 안지기다 지기야 수부데 뚜샤서 제화다 차고로 지송은 자와 주보르와 수보르네 지기 데니게 지사 나제 자야게 된다라 지당은 넘기네 수보레 마쇠 차 된나 되어메르와 안지메 차고라 전 나제 용고로와 지사다 데서 안에 메 나제 자야게 된다라 안에 되어메나 네 제고고로와 지레
Not only do we need to take unpleasant medicine, but we also need to endure medical procedures that we'd much rather not. And the text sets out operations, moxibustion and acupuncture. People tend not to choose these when they're in good health. They only undergo such treatments when they have to. So, moxibustion, for those who haven't seen it, it's I think it's often called cupping, where hot glass objects, glass balls are placed on the body, and that is meant to pull out illness or extract illness from the body. And then, of course, acupuncture and operations. So these unwanted procedures one is forced to endure due to illness.
That diso dunga dini yungore de that dansan senig yage chimba inza ane jim shashwe che dini ge ta de mane sha na za da zu yung bar ka birmen jab ke ha ko so ha me ba zo sha ko wa 지사 니마 디와이는 별 디와이나 딘지도 강조 갑주도 빌면 메라 주 차이르와 아니 매ገብ도 차고래 디네 강아티고 디네 나즈 다이 돈달라 디체고로와 제고로와 디네 캬바쇼쇼 베네 다디도와 네 미소와 도네 류바도 메바 안둥아 용고 바네 나위둥아레 네 미소와 지사 네 네디 자기 말에 삼제 네 자야게 돈달이야 직 갑주베네 가제 차베네 우주 잡제 려고셔 엠베네 라과로 차교당 디니 차베네 니마 지디 비르멘 야요 말와 메디 카르시오 센티조네 라과주 탱 파직 주고디 지디 나즈단 그러시고 나그레 제슈쇼고데 제선 디시고 나지고 나기어디네 고 나즈 자야게 돈달라 우주 잡제디 제슈 고고와 제사 디니게 두마 바도메 용고레 세디 다 디슨 숨비 갑라 네타 지키 데니기 다디아사이나 비르멘자시 나마나 하모라.
And hearing what's presented here, we should hear it with a broader understanding, based certainly on our own individual experiences, but also what we observe elsewhere in the world, and what we know about how things were in ancient times. So surgery for us here in our modern world, whilst unwanted, is not always such a big deal. But certainly in ancient times, when there was no such thing as anesthetic, and surgical procedures were very rough, to say the least, surgery certainly was something to be gravely feared. Also in other parts of the world today, where the medical situation is not what we have here, the experiences there are far more frightening. So we need to understand, relate to the illustrations that are presented here in a broader way, bearing in mind both history as well as what other people's lived experiences. And furthermore, the text continues, should the disease be incurable, he experiences immeasurable suffering from fear, worry, and apprehension. And if the disease is fatal, he lives with death in front of his eyes.
That is a navidunga. Tanganzo Tonchus give a navidunga, that the kissing that how Hovatum Yunan, Jine Nazata, Marathon and Naza, Ramara Yonata Kamapalu, Mebayuna Chagu, but the Saber Yorua, on the Hakoya. And the member that, the Sankrasana that Jitoy Neza said, the bed, Nanecotina said the poet, she would like to do us, was Chazan, Kampada, Lapada, Chaza, she would like to say that Utamado Kamados, just a Navidunga, Deniki. That Navidunga, the Jangazuki, Danganzo also, Sosole Navidunga, Yungore, and Janda Navidunga, Yobading as a Tungore, and the Senukilam, the Navidunga, Patomeva Yobada, Nangazuki, Seboroji, Tontuyarochi, that is the there's a Senderoji that June, there's a space of Mato, Dile, that dinner show Shebale, Kawa, the Kazema, or Wadamone, Dirwa, Danganzo Diso, as a Hako Borwada.
When we reflect on these sufferings, again, I encourage you to reflect on it in a very broad way, especially if you personally haven't experienced much in terms of either aging or the sufferings of aging or sickness. But certainly in the world, there are many beings right now who are experiencing tremendous fear at having received a terminal diagnosis, or being in a situation of tremendous pain, or if they're in impoverishment and they cannot afford medication they require, or their country is experiencing tremendous difficulties and they can no longer access imported medication. So there are a wide variety of situations in the world, largely which are quite obscure to our own lived experience here. So we need to approach these sufferings in a broader way. And of course, just watching the news every day, the sufferings of illness is presented abundantly clearly to us especially when we see what those who are suffering from the pandemic and those who are experiencing that illness, the great pain and difficulty they experience and the fear they must endure when they struggle to breathe and so forth. So we need to, whilst on a superficial level we read this and we nod and we agree it's like that and on we go, but we need to reflect on it in a more expansive manner than that.
다 나유 동아 라면도 가서 수보티니 중화 참만여 버티네 나거래 다 되네게 소속이 셈마기 비터네 안 나와 대 수부기 동아 중화 참만이 나서 춘유지 내베네 델이야 소속이 남도 셈마기와 아니 남도라 말하기에 니지네 안 동아 배마 숙체 차야다 제 차고라고 삼는 당탕이 터네 차고래 진짜 삼는 당탕이 터네 지금 소불량 내나서 준비네 소속에 삼는 당탕 터네 삼는데 아니 오다니 내나서 준비디 다기 개왕아 말레기 제부 레다 레기 제부 용고라 삼베 삼다야다 아니 가서 레기요 되는데 라지부 마인 버점을 나래야 나한테네 바트메 봐요 되네 자다 되네 장아 저기 장시 셈냠네 집에 갑람 가서 랑 저기 동네 냠는 제도 갑데 아니 지금 당에 셈제 탐지게 동아디에 내 용구에 산다디 동아뇨 먹어 용 쇼스니 동아뇨아 디기 안 셈제 산 찾아 동아뇨 먹어 쇼스 비게 되네 몰람지 어데 디니기 다니 디니 동아뇨아 디 개왕아 메레지 보티보 다고르 마오바나 안가 동아뇨 먹어 차고르 셈비게 디니게 삼다바이나 다 내나서 준비네 당아저기 동아 중화 차고르 지상은 삼나 다당에 토네 아니 캬브르 샤라 쇼고르 와다.
A further way to approach this is that the text presents the suffering of illness very much in terms of when the elements or the cells are not in harmony, that's when suffering follows, illness follows rather. And that's true, and that is how one sickness comes about, and we experience suffering, in particular physical suffering, so suffering that comes about from with the basis of the body. But how one experiences that physical suffering, in other words, our mental suffering, here too there's tremendous variety amongst beings. And this is the area where we should strive to also gain control. Not we need to take care of our body, but in particular, we need to look after our mental state. Because there's tremendous variety in terms of how beings experience the same physical suffering. For some, or perhaps for many, they will have a tremendous amount of discursive thought, worry and over-conceptualization will follow to an extent of great exaggeration, an extent beyond what serves any purpose, and only actually serves to make their mental suffering intense. So not only are they experiencing suffering arising from their physical basis, but they're also experiencing mental suffering due to the habitual way of dealing with problems and difficulties. So and most people perhaps, or certainly many people, experience suffering in this way. And this just exacerbates their anguish, exacerbates their physical and mental pain. So here we need to take control, not just take care of our bodies, but we need to develop control of our mind, subdue our mind, tame our mind. Because how we relate to physical suffering can transform how we experience it. And the easier points to approach this, especially when good health, we train in this way, so that we have a stronger basis for when we are ill, is that understand that why has this happened to me? It's not a question we even need to ask. It has come about in dependence on causes and conditions. It's karma that we have created. So we don't need to take this personally. We don't need to berate ourselves. We don't need to think about why me. We understand that this has come from karma we've created. And secondly, we think that we are not alone. We are not unique. We are not special in our suffering. There are uncountable beings who are suffering in this exact same way. And many more who are suffering far more So the purpose of thinking in these two ways is to try and lift our awareness, to try and not be too narrow-minded, focusing on our unfortunate situation, but to try and lift up our awareness, being aware that this is negative karma that we have accumulated and is now being experienced and exhausted. We are not alone in this. Many others are suffering now too. And if we are able to lift our mind up like that, then we have the basis to engage in the supremely effective method of taking and giving meditation, where we engage in this practice that is done by so many bodhisattvas, where they engage in the process of taking on the suffering of others and giving happiness to others. And so in brief, they understand that their suffering has come about due to the ripening of negative karma they have accumulated and is being exhausted. And through the exhaustion of their negative karma, may all other beings' negative karma be exhausted in their suffering experience. And in this way, may no being ever have to suffer in the way that they are suffering. May they take on the suffering of others. And through their experience of this negative karma, may no other being have to experience similar suffering. Through generating compassion like this, huge stores of virtue are created, and this then is offered to others. And this is offered to others so that others may create the causes to experience lasting, stable happiness. And if one is able to engage in this meditation, then one's mental state is greatly uplifted. It's joyous, it's light. One's mind is broad and expansive. One is not overcome by one's own suffering. One's not dominated by self-concern, but is rather focused on the situation of others. So this is a much more skillful way to deal with situations which are likely to follow for us.
Dandala Garjin Shivarelana, Dini Yoya di Legu, Leda Nyomo Ongi Kiwa Lembaenza, Deniki Dungadiki Yungori Esaje. Tizanda, Deniki Dunga de Mayaya gi Hanzuke Tapshi Garche Orelana, Tizanda, Dele Taya Tayagi Tapshi Ore, Taya Tapshi Chewaza, Dele Taya di Leda Nyomo Bangbi Bangba Tarbasa di Tobu Gores. Tizan di Tobu Sambigi di Toba Tomia Toba Dunya Dumbadi. And shukcher dang kureje. Di dumbadikazi shukcher robaine, and other di tobiak tablamly bezuche yungures, Sidan Kiwi Jawa Momos Masa to Kureje. Sidan di Chazan that the Dumadi shed Chazan, led and Yomon Pompey, Pompey, Tarbas, Tobudu, Sebigi, Tarbadi, Dunya, Dumbadi, Shukcher, Yayag, Dondala, the Shigore. Didn't Zanzukidine, Dumadi, Duch, some Daja, that's also in that in Yungore, Mishandala in that in Yungore, Semje Dundroda, Chazan, the Ganga did Yore, Chazan, the Ganga Delet, Targudua, Sebe, the Nigger Tarbi, Tarbaji Matam, the Digminu, Sembigi. Tarba Doni somebody, Yane Ado, Gomboedi, Dichagore, Cisa Dini in Zang and Jogi, Shiagoedi, Zodi did Tarba Doni some diet. Cisa that Tarba Doni Tobu to Sembe some diet, and Tarba Zagan Tobure Lamna, Danga Zuki Karja, the Luna used me to be Surum Soyada, and the Surum Sungo, what it is Surum Soyada, and then Azu gave it our Jimby Yamnaja, Surum, Subi Yamnaja, and the Deniki, Jig, Azu Nerap, Dicia, that Dele Yagatina. And Dami Bigi, not Doyag, Tapshilia, and the Jabachia, and Lucini Pichia, where the Chagore, Chisan, so Tarbadoni, some Gia did. Tarbadoni, some Gia do, and Tarbatoyag, and the good star where the gas and Jimbo Children Super Junju, and then something it's in Sheraptic in Yamlan Chia, and Delia, Yamlan Delia, Bezuchia, Dumbash, Shukchadukore, Dumbash Shukchad, Dele Jawachia, Gozomunguro, and Didondala, Tishigor, Chesatini, Zadam. Gedina di Dinga Tunga some Tana Dele Targo, Dele Tarpig, Tarbase Tobu, Sempe Samlodi, Tango, Dini Zadanjuki, Tarbatobia Dondala, Matu Chatsi, that Charuch, Control and Japu, Chevacare, Gorado, Cartina Dingi, Tarbatobia Donda Ina, Sempe some Tachi Kishu to Poor Ejere, Donala did this water.
To summarize the class we've had tonight, we've come to we looked at the second and third of the 8 sufferings. So these all come about, the sufferings that we've looked at thus far, of birth, aging, and sickness. But all of these sufferings, they come about due to the contaminated karma that we ourselves have accumulated under the influence of our own afflicted minds. So this is a key point, to recognize that we have created the situation that we are in, both the wanted and the unwanted. Because that recognition will lead to strength of mind. No matter what situation we are in, no matter how undesirable it may be, if we realize that we have great capacity, that we have the possibility to completely transform not only how we experience things now, but completely transform our entire environment, our very body. This will give us confidence and strength of mind. And how to completely transform our environment, our body, our way of thinking, that is to bring cyclic existence to a complete end. To bring our own individual samsara to a complete end, to a cessation, to attain liberation from the suffering state, to cease the suffering state. The purpose of looking at this topic, so we're in the 5th class on this topic, is to go through each of these points repeatedly over a sustained period, reflecting on the nature of cyclic existence, reflecting on the suffering nature of cyclic existence, so as to give rise to an ever more powerful wish to be freed from this. So we come to see that there's no happiness worthy of striving for, no situation worthy of striving for as long as it remains bound within samsara. So this is the key point of these meditations on suffering, so as to give rise to this determination to strive for liberation. And that determination then is experienced as, no matter what we are physically doing or we're saying, or if we just quieten with our thoughts, everything is motivated to bring about the achievement of this goal. Single-pointedly focused with everything we do to bring about the achievement of liberation. So that's the purpose of reflecting on sufferings. Then I would encourage you, because this meditation is primarily done about one's own experience, and we then look at the experiences of others too. And this is important because it broadens the depth of the analysis, because we can use more illustrations, and we need to generate compassion for others as well, so that whilst we want to give rise to the wish to strive for our liberation from samsara, we need to also have the motivation of doing that for the sake of others, to spiritually develop for the sake of others. So we need to do this meditation in relation to our own experiences and then apply it to others for that reason, so as to use it to generate love and compassion for others. And once we've meditated on suffering as has been presented tonight and last week and previous weeks, we give rise to a wish for liberation, we then should conclude the meditation with reflection on creating the causes for freedom, causes that lead to liberation. Here primarily meditate on ethical conduct, a mind of restraint, a mind that doesn't come under the influence of the afflictions, because this is the mind of liberation, a mind that is freed of the afflictions. So we cultivate ethical conduct or ethical restraint in our meditation, seeing the grave danger the afflictions present and developing the skills to recognize them and not come under their influence. And thereafter, if we have the time, we should meditate too on generosity and patience to cultivate ever greater causes that will lead to liberation. And if we do have sufficient time, also to meditate on joyous perseverance, concentration, and in particular wisdom. And this then is the second great part of the meditation. And then lastly, whatever one does thereafter, whether it's to make offerings or on your shrine or to do prostrations, do so with the motivation of striving to achieve liberation from one's own samsara, but for the sake of others, to spiritually develop for the sake of others. So in this way, we can see that all the sufferings that we and other ordinary beings experience, they don't have to be inevitable. Through mental transformation, which will come about through repeated effort over a sustained period, suffering can be brought to an end. Freedom can be attained.
Okay.
So thank you. We'll finish there for tonight.